So let's talk about a very important concept in Cassandra called consistency level. Now, please do note that it is comprises of two words. It is not just consistency. We have to give the word level equal weightage. So before I define this, why don't we do a role play? For instance, I am the application and you are the Cassandra coordinator. The application has handed over a Cassandra query language. For instance, it could be a select, it could be an insert. Why don't we take insert as the example? So I, the client, have given you, the coordinator, an insert statement to work on. And once I've handed over that request, I'm waiting for you to finish up. What are you doing? You, the coordinator, you've hashed, okay? You've hashed it and you're essentially figured out what the replica nodes are. And you have basically sent the data over to the replica nodes. And you are waiting for the replica nodes to respond back. So I am waiting on you, the coordinator. You, the coordinator, are waiting for the replica nodes. It's like monkey square. I am the monkey on your back and you are the monkey on the replica's back. So the question is, at some point in time, somebody has got to define, how long this wait has to continue. So here's the definition of consistency level. At what point in time the coordinator can respond back to the client that the job is done? You get to define that. Now, please note, this is not a time parameter. We do know if we pay the currency of time in a masterless architecture, we can get strong consistency. It is not a time parameter that we need to specify. So in that case, what are we talking about? So if the consistency level is 1, that means you are waiting for one replica node to return back and say job done. If you are talking about quorum, then you are looking at a quorum number of nodes. In other words, majority number of nodes to respond back to say the job is done. If we set the consistency level as all, then you're going to wait for all the replica nodes to come back and say the job is done. And it is tunable at the time of writing code. You and I, the developers, we have full powers to control this. And here's a Java example. Again, the Cassandra driver is available in multiple different languages, right? But this is important to realize that how it can be done. So you can see I create a statement, then I can say set consistency level, and I can say consistency level dot, and then it's going to give us a multiple set of values, right? It's going to basically say 1, 2, 3, quorum, local quorum, each quorum, all, and there is another one called any. All of these are the values. And this is from application code. Can you set this from your CQLSH terminal window? Absolutely. That's possible too. So now let's take a look at a little bit more about what consistency level actually brings on the table in terms of the application's ability to handle extenuating circumstances. What I mean by that is, under what circumstances can I instruct Cassandra to have a slightly relaxed attitude and say that, hey, coordinator, I do know failures occur, so don't worry about it. If there are some nodes are down, I should be able to tell Cassandra that. So why don't we take a look at this in the context of quorum. But before that, let's define what is quorum. When somebody says quorum is majority, agreed, majority is an English term, right? But we need to quantify that. So it's actually a formula. It's round down of some of the replication factors across all the data centers, you divide it by 2, you round it down, and then you add 1 to it. So for example, if my replication factor was 3, so 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. I round it down, and you get 1, and then you add 1 to it, you get 2. So 2 is a majority of 3. If my replication factor were 5, 5 divided by 2, 2.5, rounded down 2, add 1 to it, 3. 3 is a majority of 5. What happens if it's a perfect division? Suppose my replication factor was 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. You add 1 to it. 3 is a majority of 4. Meaning, if I say consistency level is quorum and you are going to do an insert, quorum number of nodes must acknowledge back before the coordinator can respond to the client that the job is done. This also means that given quorum, I do have the ability to not bother about the responses from certain nodes. For instance, if my replication factor was 3, we know quorum is going to be 2 nodes. And if I tell coordinator, please do this insert based on quorum, so the coordinator is liable to give the response from 2 nodes. If my replication factor is 3, coordinator is liable to give me response from 2 nodes, which means even if the third node was dead, was not working, I actually don't care. So I'm able to tolerate one replica node down. Just to kind of give you an idea, if you were to, use the consistency level all, the coordinator is liable to give the response from all the replica nodes. Can you tolerate even a single node down? You can't, because the consistency level is all. If the consistency level was 1, that means the coordinator is liable to give you the response from any one replica node. So the moment it gets the response from at least one replica node, it's happy. It says, okay, good, job done. Does it care about the remaining 2? No, it doesn't. Now you might wonder, wait a minute. If I don't care about the response, what happens if the data never reaches those nodes? What happens if the nodes are down? When will the data get there? When will the data of all those replica nodes will be in sync with the node that has already received the data? Who ensures that? Is it an operations job, or is it a developer's job, or is it something that Cassandra will take care? How does all that work? We'll come to that a little bit later. But right now, you realize that if the consistency level is less than all, you do have the ability to tolerate a few nodes down.